you can see the relationship to the prajna paramita, and you see the relationship to all the years of teaching, and most important, the practical application. And for you, Bruce, you want to consider the Dzogchen books you've read, and the Anandro you've worked with. Consider, let the lens for your understanding be the Nandro practice. And you can see the 4 stages as the 4 pillars. So what I share with you today for each person, you consider how it fits with what you've already studied. Because truth has consistency. Is there another light here? Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. So we're returning after our break, and I have a few words for you about considering the words that I share with you as like you're in the market, you're finding the best fruits and vegetables to create a feast for your family. You want to make this feast, so you're testing these tomatoes and these onions and all of these vegetables. Are they just right? Are they just perfect that I can create a feast for my family? And so the teachings, the words, you also test. How does this fit with what has already been explored? Where is the constancy? How does it fit with all that is in one's life? You test it like you are holding that tomato for the best vegetable stew you're going to make for your family. So it is not about belief. It is about analyzing, evaluating, testing, and the testing is where you actually see the results. So one person in the business could do he really tests, it gets very good results, and it has benefit for the entire community. So belief, when we are children, we believe in Santa Claus. And as we get a little older, around 7, and we say when the muscles come in, holding the hips, the thighs, from the thigh to the knees, when those muscles come in, then you begin to recognize, I don't think Santa Claus is real. So belief is, it gives us a foundation until we can examine. And just as the child examined and found where the toys are hidden, you're also, and those of you beyond the horizon, are examining these words and testing them and finding where the treasures are hidden within the closet of your own mind. So continuing with the power of sacred boundary, and that their boundary, in a sense, becomes a permeable membrane. Our cells, they make agreements to collect and be within us. We've chosen to explore together that even the cells and the atoms and the subatomic particles have consciousness. And that we decided, well, we'll explore on this boat. And this boat or this canoe is the body we're wearing. And the body we're wearing, it is composed of fine fabric. And that fabric is the threads of our thoughts, the threads of our relationship that resonate with the very pulse of the universe. And those potentials are expressed through our view, our speech, and our action. And in terms of our energy system, our sacrum resonates with the pulse beat of the earth, sky, universe. It gives you the physical root in 4 dimensions. And your navel center, it resonates with the very jet of light that is coming from the heart of direct perception. How is this so? Wisdom is the mother of all appearances, and the stirring of the wave began the 4 winds and then the 5 streams that we express as elements. So in terms of healing methodology, Chinese, you think of wood element relating to your liver and the synthesis of information. So as an explorer, we made a promise that we're going to go out there and check out the potential of the universe and see what it is. What is it that can possibly arise? And we also made a promise that we would return that information to the field. And when we become rather attached in the small circle of belief in I, them, and us, then the communication is not as clearly returned to the field. And in a sense, like stagnation occurs. Something turned off? Okay. So the wisdom of things as they are is continuously arising. It resonates with the pulse beat of the earth and sky. The synthesis of the information of our exploration is through the element of the tree, rooted in the earth, moving with the wind, planning for the future by creating seeds that others may grow. In this way, the sun is the fire that warms the tree, the water rising in the earth and falling from the sky nurtures. So the same dance of the elements arising from empty space, giving rise to form, and the understanding of it is synthesized through our liver. And so very often when we go on a spiritual quest, one of the first changes we make is in our diet, so that we can empty the liver of that which is outgrown. So there can be greater fluidity in the synthesis of ideas. And so some ways in which people do that are by hot butter, red pepper, lemon, and then after a couple of weeks, a really strong dose of oil, olive oil, with hot water and some Epsom salt. Why? And it's some method that's been applied around the world. It basically reveals the hidden concrete thoughts as potential of gallstones. And they move away. They are passed from the body through that diet. Also, one begins to put aside meat, and by doing this, then you hear a little more the relationship with the animal kingdom, and most importantly, displace fear from the body, because the accumulated fear of living animals, unless they have been very kindly and dispatched and prayers and offerings have been made, the fear accumulates in a person's body. Then there is also the removal of certain things from your water, which have a very big impact on your wisdom eye, your ability to see things as they are, particularly fluoride. It actually occludes and causes atrophy of your wisdom eye. And it was actually used in the past as a way of keeping concentration camp people under control, and of course is rat poison. So you want to realize it is precious to your body, and when you're called on the path, especially those of you who are out there, find some kind of reverse osmosis filter that removes the fluoride from your water so that your inner vision may be restored. You have the universe to see if thine eye be open. The chorus and the symphony of joy, if thy heart be open. And what does that mean? That your heart resonates with the field of life. So from wisdom, from the field of potential, also has come these spiraling energies, and they become elements that are expressed within our body and make it possible, basically, for our body and the world that we see to take form. So the tree, in a sense, is the balance point, the point of equipoise. The ocean is the field of great potential. And it is also our kidneys and our bones. The ocean, the water sustains us. The ocean also records the information of how we are caring for one another, how we are caring for the earth. Even beyond the simple matter of pollutants from the stream reaching the sea, there is a mindfulness of the water and a collective mindfulness of the sea itself that, like a recorder, has the information of the human beings. And through those great animals, the whales, and through the mammals of the sea, their song, with the deep, low, throbbing voice of very ancient trees, their songs return a pulse to our sun and through the whole solar system, and even into other realms and dimensions. Remembering all appearances are vibration, sound, light, and that which is way beyond our regular view. All this is vibration. And so the song of the whales actually makes it a bit more stable for us here on the earth. And the deep thrumming of the trees, especially very old trees, and you can test this, like, okay, that's more Grandma Honey stuff. Well, yeah, Grandma Honey stuff you can test. Lean against a really big old tree. Lean against it and sense, wow, there's movement, there's energy in this tree. There, you can feel it thrumming. So the trees also are a network that is similar to a nervous system that conveys information through the environment and also with the song of the ocean into the sky. So why is this important? Because all appearances have arisen from vibration, and it's a a circle of communication. When there is withholding of that communication, then there's stagnation. And so, important our medicine of appreciation. Realizing, okay, these things I am thankful for, and these things I offer and do for the benefit of many beings, of all beings, without limitation. I want to return again to the idea of the garden and recognizing that one is in sacred space and the parameters of that sacred space. So imagine an octagon. First we'll think of the octagon like this, and then we'll think of it becoming an octahedron. Visualize imagining that. And in the center of that octagon is your natural awakened state. There you are, the seed of wisdom, your purity, your recognition of things as they are. There it is. And then to the right diagonal behind you are certain belief systems, views, not you, yet they have been part of you and they have shaped your view. And then in the left diagonal behind you are family, clan, cultural, family traditions, views, and sometimes illness. And directly behind you is a stream of all the beings you have been and all of the relationships you have been in. And in the center, all things go on continuously. And so as you look before you, you consider, what is arising? Here, having the gift of the human body and already have moved through certain stages of life, what do I wish to manifest? How may the skills within come forward? And most importantly, how will they benefit? In Cherokee way, we'd say, all my relations, how would it benefit all of our relatives? And so you look before you, and what's the ideal? Well, considering the stages in life, so then we make a short digression, and we think about the 5 stages of our lives, which are also related to the elements. So first we are a young baby, and we are carried in the womb, and also we are continuously in the womb of appearances arising, the Taurus ring, symbolic of the dodecahedron, symbolic of. And as a child, first we learn, instinctively we know to suckle, and then we learn to lift our heads, sit up, and we begin to recognize, oh, I'm a little separate. That being gives me food, but I'm still different or separate from that other being. So there's also a sense of differentiation, recognizing, oh, I'm here. The sense of I begins, and the sense of relationship begins. And then understanding or sensing relationship with the environment. Oh, the wind feels good, the birds sing. I'm like learning things. I'm learning more things. Age of discovery. And I've learned things I can share. As we are older, I begin to build an age of community, sharing with others your exploration. And then you consider, these things I have learned, How will I leave them in the world for others? What sort of tracks will I leave? And you analyze and look at all these things you have acknowledged and learned, and also what you wish to acknowledge and learn more about, because it doesn't end. There's always more to see. And you observe, oh, so this is later in life. These things I've collected, and they're a treasure. Let me share them with others. And you begin to put things in order that you can create stories for the grandkids or the children. Or you collect your paintings, you collect your art, and you choose, hey, folks, these things I wish to share with you. And then in the latter stages of our lives, we contemplate again the vastness of our nature and our being. And we also very poetically leave tracks that others may know. So some people record the elders in their community, and the very act of recording them brings incredible wisdom. Like your family members, older people, they actually lived in a time where the spirals were a bit tighter. Things are widening out and, in a sense, flying apart. And how do you know this? Well, if you find a fossilized shell and you look closely, you will see, even something 500 years ago, not even fossilized, you'll see the lines of accretion are far more tightly packed than shells you would find at the sea today. So the view is expanding, and the forces of matter, as we've explored them, we begin those binding patterns shift and change. And so as an elder, we can see the shift and change, and we can inspire others to recognize that what is studied or written occurred many years ago, and what is known is directly perceivable through the heart. Or on a more concise note, it is said that there is more secret technology, and even what is taught in universities about physics is actually known to be untrue, and that real knowledge is still hidden away. And actually, you have the library within your heart, and you have direct access to all that wisdom through the exploration of your breath and your thought, through the observation of your own heart, observing the patterns. So in terms of the stepping forward in the octagon, that digression was to give you understanding about what you see. Then understanding the significance of the spiral, we dance in that octagon. And to the left, or well, first to the right, upper diagonal, are the people who are accomplishing that which we wish to accomplish. And so this is one way to see discontent as actually a call to learn. Well, what are they doing that I can do? What makes it look easy for them? How is there some application in my own life? So that's upper right diagonal. And then behind you, you still have left diagonal, those old concepts, things you've outgrown. And you integrate the ideal, the views, the projections of what you thought you are or were, with the heart of wisdom in the center, which is you in the now. And then the upper left diagonal, you consider, okay, What do I want to learn? What skill set do I want to develop? Like I want to dive into the ocean of mind, then I wish to understand the nature of mind. So how will I find that? Well, there are many texts, there are many belief systems. I find one that works for me, gets very clear. I find the Vajrayana Buddhism, I see very clearly, because it's a mind science, what are the patterns that give rise to certain results. And I integrate that with the wisdom, the foundation of my ancestors. Their foundation made it possible for me to observe the world outside of an ordinary view. And their awareness pointed the way to gathering baskets of medicine or skill sets to benefit many beings. And also, there is we live in a Judeo-Christian culture, or basically, when going to school, that's how it is. And it shaped our consciousness and our view. And so, what is the essence that is in common in my Native American view or your family view, the Judeo-Christian view, and the arising wisdom that is being revealed? So that is the dance of integration. What are the connections with your belief systems, your conditioned views, and that seed of wisdom within? And what are the skill sets you wish to develop that you may manifest the wisdom that is your natural state? And so this becomes the dance of the directions, the spiraling energy of wisdom arising. And so now we have a sense. Here we are, these things we wish to emulate, these things we believed and now we see there's more to it. We integrate, bring forward. Wisdom. Here is an objective to fully take residence in that state of awakened being. And behind, belief systems, things we thought we were and things we believed about the universe that we now see as not quite true. Yet we don't throw it away, we integrate our experiences and see how they have all arisen from one state. And so what is coming from the side? Basically, energy. We have the energy of intuition, the lightning bolt that transforms, that makes clear perception available. And from the west, we have the energy of transmutation, dissolving the concepts of them in us and restoring the sense of love as a cohesive wave, uniting us all in the dream. So when we think, okay, what does this mean? That's your homework during lunchtime. And you think, how do you apply it? What does it mean that all my relatives move within me? What does it mean to awaken the wisdom eye? And in an exercise mode, we can actually penetrate the heart, yet there is much work to be done before, because when we open the door and the heart is not ready, that is the emotional collected belief in oneself, when one is not ready, when you show them space, they get really angry and behave badly. Yeah, so you have, my responsibility is first to show you how to see the belief systems you don't need and to just let them fall away. So your natural wisdom can be revealed, that you can stand in your naked awareness without fear or anger. Who gets angry? The thing we call I, thinking it exists, gets really angry sometimes. Who gets sad? The thing we call I. And how do we align with those, see those emotions as energy potentials? Basically, we see those emotions as doorways and vehicles for understanding the expression of wisdom's potential, from whence we are never separate. So this concludes the talking portion. And now if you have questions, well, perhaps we will contemplate these words for a bit. And then if you have questions, you can ask them. Is there a way for people online to ask questions?
That's what I'm doing right now, and if people refresh their browser, they ought to be able to see that in just a moment.
All right. Yes.
The last thing you were talking about, this is what I got, and I just want to see if it's right, that the heart is open too abruptly, that the ego structure feels attacked.
Uh-huh.
And then sort of what happens? I mean, do you feel like do people feel in danger, like they could dissolve, or like you said, it's not wise to do that. And I just wanted to get more clarity.
Will you repeat the question first?
Yeah. The question was when people are introduced to the state of mind, or when people are shown emptiness, dissolving of the concept and the belief of them and us, there is actually a point where one wants to cling to the belief system of I and to maintain the status quo, and thus can act out. Yeah.
I can imagine you say there's a way to go forward, but I can't imagine you can say, and here's what you do. For example, a mother and son are in a parking lot, and some young woman comes by and says, I'm going to be angry by accident. Or a person visits a site to offer strawberries where children were killed. Or somebody really wants me to throw me in an oven. Or one could, in one time, walk into the woods covered with bark, but in another time, nowhere to go. So I think we're at a time where the human family all over the world can understand this is one family, but I think there are still times that some mischief makers really need serious limits.
Yes. Thought forms aggregates of energy wish to sustain themselves. So they're spoken of as maras. These are congregations of energy that chooses to identify with a self, a place, and does not recognize the stream that unites all and from whence all have come. And so the thought form, wishing to preserve itself, instills fear and repetitive actions that cause separation. And so in terms of spiritual practice, when there is the mind of aggression and war, the peaceful practices do not allay so well the transformation of that aggression. So then the inner practice of dealing directly with any hint of aggression in your own consciousness and the willingness to cut it away and transform it and offer it. So for example, the aggression we see in the world is a result of aggression in individual hearts. And how do we transform such seeds of aggression in our own consciousness, knowing that through bioresonance coupling, the transformation of that aggression in our own heart also moves through the field and becomes more skillful states of mediation and reconciliation. So people can move along blindly and keep walking into the boogeyman. And someone can say, there's the boogeyman, or boogie person. There's the boogie person. So once identifying the thought, the energy, the boogie person, and then saying, oh, we'll not walk in there, we'll not walk that way, we'll not energize it, then it has less power. Like polarization is a tool of manipulation. And the aggregate thought forms basically try to polarize us into thinking it is this way or that way. When ultimately, like magnetism, there are arising and more subtle forces. And so to energize those arising forces. Yeah, people have done terrible things to each other. And so to acknowledge the pain and to wash it away and offer it, that others not suffer such things again. That is a beginning of transforming and pacifying the dynamic of reaction. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Listen, are you saying that we're supposed to allow it to go around us and not through us?
Not exactly. I'm saying that it is happening and we choose not to add to it. So when people begin to argue and wanting each other to take a particular side or view, step back, turn around, drop down, turn around, no longer adding energy to that. And the very act of dropping down, turning around, basically unhinges some of the energy that seeks to become cohesive as a particular thought form. So, we see what's happening. People are forgetting to be kind. We can get angry about their forgetting, and then we're adding energy to the forgetfulness and the aggression. Or we can say, what is the ideal, and model it. There's a story that one of the ministers in the community shared with me many years ago. She was on an airplane and the mother was traveling with kids and the kids were really acting out and the mother was getting really not nice to her children. And so this woman went over and just said, how can I help? She didn't say, hey, you're being a bad mother, don't do this or that. Hey, how can I help? And then there is a fine line about how you offer help. Help that does it for is not really help at all. Help that points the way. Yeah, this is a possibility. These things we tried, they worked. That's valuable. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Any other questions? Okay. May our time together reveal the wisdom that is your natural state. And as you walk the land and eat lunch, May you hear the sounds, feel the wave of your natural wisdom. Wadal, may all beings benefit from our practice and our time together. And we resume at 3 o'clock. Yeah. About 12:30. Time for you to contemplate, meditate, test some of the words that have been said, and eat something. And most importantly, walk about. Mm-hmm.